Hans, following that loss to Gianotsu, what's the stock like of Aoki in Japan at the moment?
You know, a lot of people are hoping for him to be the savior of Japanese MMA, but ultimately he's a polarizing figure. There are people who like him, people who extremely dislike him, and some people thought he got what he deserved.
Well, love him or hate him, you've got to respect the skill of Shinya Aoki. He's delivered some of the finest submissions ever seen in the sport. I mean, who'll ever forget Dynamite a couple of years ago, where he broke the arm in that main event. The reverse gogoplata on Nagata back in the early Dream days. So many defining moments in the career of Shinya Aoki. Frank, how do you see this one going down? What does Clementi have that can pose a problem for Aoki?
Well, you know, Clementi is one of those guys that's not scared to be on the ground. When most of the guys Aoki's been fighting in the past have been really scared to be on the ground with him from the submission game. As you can see, Clementi's not scared to go ahead and try to hit a submission. He's digging for Kimura right now. He's got a good spot. He's really, really strong and tight in all of his spacing. So all that energy that Aoki just wasted picking him up and sending him out on the ground did nothing to Rich. That's the biggest problem that he poses to Aoki. The other thing is he's not scared to trade on his feet, where Aoki seems to be really scared still to trade on his feet.
In his last 5 fights, Aoki has had 4 first-round submission wins. He subbed Lyle Beerbom in just 1 minute 33. Yokthai Sitoha in just 1 minute. Kawajiri in 1 minute 53 with a beautiful Achilles lock. And Hirota, as I said, a first-round 2 minutes 17 at Dynamite 2009, where he broke Hirota's arm.
You know, unfortunately, the way that Aoki wants this to go, he wants us to be on the ground because that's his style. So what he's going to do is he's going to slow the pace down. He's really going to make sure that this stays on the ground as much as he can, which kind of makes for a little bit of a slower pace fight, which is unfortunate because Rich will do really well if he can get his hands going and get his body moving with a little separation from him and Aoki. But as you can see right now, Aoki is just so tight, there's no space for Rich to go anywhere.
Let's not forget that Clementi was given only 2 weeks' notice to prepare for this contest. He failed to make weight on his first try, made it on the second attempt. It was actually originally looked like it was going to be Antonio McKee versus Shinya Aoki, but then that fell apart with several rumors surrounding as to why. We're not exactly quite sure what the final story was on that.
Along with perhaps a half a dozen other names that were thrown about.
You can always rely on No Love Rich Clementi to step up to the plate. Clementi comes in off of a loss to Rezi Madani at Superior Challenge 7 on April 30th. That was over in Stockholm, Sweden. Before that, had a win over Josh Hinkle at the Rogue Warrior Championships in El Paso, Texas. But he's been very inconsistent in recent fights. He's gone 2-3 in his last 5, 6-4 in his last 10.
You know, I think Rich is one of those guys that has so much other things going on. He runs his own gym down there in Louisiana, and he really, you know, has expanded into the sport of being able to train and teach other guys. He's a great coach. I think that's a big distraction to him. It doesn't allow him to train as hard, as diligently as he needs to get ready for these fights.
Aoki, a little bit of ground and pound here from the mount position, just raining down with the right hand here on No Love Rich Clementi. Right in front of Clementi's corner. Referee keeping a close eye on it here. Clementi's got to defend or get out of there.
He's got to move. Aoki's doing a good job of holding on to that top wrist so he can't turn over.
Aoki is so dangerous, and this guy is just evil, isn't he, Hans? He is nasty. I think Aoki, when he's got an opponent on the canvas, genuinely likes to hurt people. We've seen it in the past several times.
He definitely has no compunction about breaking an arm or a leg if he gets a hold of it.
Unanswered blows here off the right hand from Aoki. They may not be tremendously powerful, but they will accumulate damage to the face and temple of Rich Clementi. And they do not look good to the judges nor the center referee, Frank.
No, not at all. This is scoring and Georging, you know, going all the way for Aoki right now. Rich is in a big hole right here. And the way he's got him pinned up, it's almost like a big brother holding on his little brother, where he's just sitting on him, holding that wrist, not letting him do anything. And kind of just total domination. It does not bode well for Rich Clementi, at least at this point.
We're talking tonight about the veterans who have long served the world of mixed martial arts. Clementi is among them. Made his pro debut back in 1999. Back on the geniusly named show, Stomp in the Swamp.
Back in the day when it first started, there was some really strange names out there.
And still, Aoki continues to pound away with the right hand, but just not a lot of mustard behind these shots.
Well, he's not really looking to do any kind of damage other than to get Rich to lift his head up or make a bad mistake in his motion so that he can go ahead and put a choke in. That's all that Aoki's really looking for in this spot. Everything he does, Aoki does, is for a submission attempt. That's all he's trying to do.
Clementi just stuck with nowhere to go at the moment, forced to cover up. What does the referee do you think here, Frank? Did he just continue to allow Aoki just to pound away like this? I mean, as we said, they're ineffective punches. He's looking to set up something else, which is a choke of Clementi, but it's not happening.
I know, really, at this position, you know, if you consider that Rich is able to continue to fight, he's totally fine, just call it a stall, stand him back up, start over again, because this position is not going to change.
Clementi in his corner complaining that Aoki is hitting him in the back of the head, which does seem to be the case, but then again, Clementi's doing nothing in response here.
Punches like a girl.
Oh, and Clementi saying he punches like a girl.
Kind of looks like it, though. He kind of looks like he's punching like a girl. And not a Julie Kensett, you know, Gina Carano girl, like a girl with a punch. Just to clarify that.
Anytime you take 100 unanswered punches like this and you can still say he hits like a girl, yeah, maybe he hits like a girl.
He may hit like a girl, but if he gets the opportunity, Rich, you better be careful. Choke you out.
I did a quick tally here. Serious injuries. He's inflicted at least 4 with his submissions. Alvarez, Kawajiri, Hirota, and of course Keith Wisniewski back in Shuto.
I think the worst one, though, would have to be Hirota, Dynamite 2009. I mean, that was just hard to watch, Hans.
It was it broke his humerus, which is extremely hard to break and can be a fatal break, actually.
It may be the humorous, Frank, but there's nothing funny about it.
It's not my fault. I'm good.
And still Aoki from this position we've been in for a long time here in the first round.
We can hear Clementi underneath. He's like, it's not my fault. I'm good. He just punched me in the arm. Like, what do you want from me? I can't do anything, but he's not doing any damage. He keeps talking back to the ref, let him know he's okay. So, you know, let it continue as far as I'm concerned at this point.
And now the referee says break. It was a momentary stall. Good work by the referee to jump in. Gives a yellow card to Clementi.
For what? Wow, that was kind of a strange yellow card because he was in a position where he couldn't do anything and Aoki couldn't finish. It was all on Aoki in that position to do anything.
Aoki shoots in. Clementi sprawls out here. Single leg from Aoki. Can he get Clementi down again? The former police officer, Shinya Aoki. And puts Clementi on his back. Inside the half guard, Aoki. Oh, Aoki's doing that old trick where he ties up the legs with a triangle, Frank. We've seen it many times before.
Yeah, that's what Kawajiri does it a lot, too. And it's one of the most scary positions when all of a sudden somebody steps over on a low mountain, figure fours your legs, and you can't do anything. You can't turn left or right. You can't really go into him. The only way you can go is go into him. You can't even back out.
Frank, is there any other grappler in the world of mixed martial arts that has as many options at his disposal on the ground as does Shinya Aoki?
No, there isn't. Like, Aoki can submit you with his legs, with his hands, with his feet. He's got chokes.
And he's inventive.
Yeah, that's the thing, too, that's really surprising. When he gets a go-go plata from the top, he's on top of you, throws his leg over and go-go plows you from the top. That's the guy that's thinking outside the box, and he's always looking for a new way to get a new kind of submission. And, you know, his nickname is the flying submissions master or whatever.
Yep.
So he's one of those guys that will invent something new and then try the next fight. Like, he's not scared to try new stuff in the middle of a competition. And as a result, but on the reverse side, you're not going to find that it's so good at MMA, but so bad at striking. And so bad at, if he got against another wrestler, his takedowns for wrestling are really poor. So it's a question of, you know, he's really superior in one aspect, but really inferior in the other 2 aspects of the game.
Hans, how did the fans here in Japan respond after Aoki said at the press conference, tomorrow I fight for myself only, despite the Fight for Japan theme? How did that go down?
Well, you know, there hasn't been a lot of time for blowback there, but really that was a response to the criticism that he got for saying that he was going to represent Japan and then basically getting beaten back to Japan after fighting in the United States.
With a minute remaining here in the first round, it has been domination by Shinya Aoki. And you've got to wonder what Clementi can possibly do should this one go to the second round to try and counter the work rate and the expertise on the ground of Aoki that is just all over Clementi at the moment. And Clementi himself is a very good submission stylist. 19 of his 40 wins by a submission.
Make no bones about it. Clementi is a very worthy opponent. He's very diligent. As of late, he hasn't been able to dedicate himself to full-time fighting like he should because of his school and what have you. But if he gets back to his feet and keeps Aoki away from shooting on him, he's got a good shot of putting Aoki down with some peppering shots. The problem is right now, every time he throws a big haymaker, Aoki dips underneath it and goes right for the takedown. Aoki doesn't care if he gets a takedown or not. He just wants to scramble to end up on the ground, which is what's been happening so far this the first round.
Final 10 seconds of the opening round. It's been all Aoki. And we go to the towels. Aoki in control. He's hardly raised a sweat here. The referee did issue a yellow card for inactivity to Rich Clementi, which, as Frank said, was perhaps not deserving, as there was nowhere really he could go.
When you got a guy sitting on you, has your arm tied up, he's completely got your hips down and flattened out, and he's punched you 100 times, but you're still talking to the ref and nothing's happening. There's an issue with the guy on top isn't doing enough to finish the fight. With the guy on the bottom, he's kind of stuck. He can't really move that far. If he's just pinned there, you got to kind of give him some space, you know? And this is part of the problem with Richard's been having right now, is that once he gets his hips sucked in, Aoki just kind of crushes him and steps into his full mount. He's got to keep this fight on the feet. You know, Clementi cannot allow Aoki to take him down again if he wants to win this fight.
What are your thoughts here, Frank? Does it go the full distance, or does Aoki finish Clementi in the second, or does Clementi find a knockout blow?
Well, the way what we've been seeing so far, if I have to go off of the past history, the first 10-minute first round, the 5-minute second round is going to be no different. It's going to be Aoki waiting for Clementi to throw a big punch, take him down on the ground, and kind of ground and pound him without so much grinding, because you're looking for that submission that he won't get. It's going to have to go in the full distance with at least in my opinion, right now, Aoki winning the decision.
A bit of a slap and a tickle from Aoki's corner. First to emerge off his stool. Clementi soaking up some last-minute instructions from his team, and he needs it. But you do have to give it up to Rich Clementi, as I said, coming in only 2 weeks' notice, coming to Japan, fighting Aoki in his backyard. It's a big effort, big ask. Second and final round will be 5 minutes long.
Aoki's corner telling him to be aware of the distance.
Takes the back standing. Looks up that right leg of Clementi.
Looks like that's Rio Chonan in his corner there, too.
Okay, it did look like it, too. I wasn't sure.
I wanted to get another look at him, too.
The thing with Rio Chonan, always looks like God gave him 5 teeth too many.
His nickname is the Piranha in Japan.
That explains a lot.
And the sad thing is that obviously it's a play on his teeth, but I don't think he gets the joke, because he loves the nickname so much.
So here we are again, tied up in the neutral corner. Aoki taking the back here of Rich Clementi. A long time to be in this position remaining for Aoki to find a sub. And how does Clementi possibly get out of this situation?
Got to turn into him, get his shoulders back on the mat, try to clear out that hook on his hips. He's back in the same spot again. We're just getting rain blows down on him.
Ooh, Aoki posts up on the left arm, drops the elbow off the right arm. And again, Clementi forced to cover up as Aoki just peppers away, looking to sink the choke. It's like a demented game of Twister right now. And in these situations, Aoki always seems to come up trumps. Look at that. Elbows below the shoulder, top of the rib cage. Aoki's got that triangle just locked on around the body. And you'll try and sink the choke again. How calm he is, Aoki. It's just a master craftsman going to work here. You feel, Frank, you really do, that it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, he's kind of slowly sinking stuff in. He's slowly getting to it. Now Clementi's locked down, completely flat. He's got to move. And this is what Aoki wants. He wants you trying to make mistakes to get out of his striking position so he can go ahead and put a submission onto you. The body triangle's locked in there nice and tight. He's getting everything exactly where he wants it. See, he's starting to stick the arm across now.
He's going to crank away here, Aoki. Yes! He locks out moisture, seals in freshness. Good night, Irene.
Wow, that was really good. He got it in. It wasn't really a choke so much. It was a neck crank. He got that body triangle on, was able to squeeze the lungs, the lower half of the stomach so you can't breathe. At the same time, he's turning that head and shuts everything down. Great position by Aoki. Once again, showing why he wants to keep it on the ground and why he doesn't really need to expand his striking ability, because everyone he's fighting right now, he's able to submit.
Shinya Aoki adds submission win number 18 to his record in 28 victories. It is a fantastic submission ratio for the Topikan Juda master of flying submissions. Here we go again, Frank.
In great position. See, he's got the head turn. He's got the hips, and he actually not squeezing with his hips as hard as he could have. He could have been really